Boo. Boo.
Hey!
Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Scribes and Scrolls, Book 7, Under a Red Moon, and this is Chapter 100, The Temple of the Black Lotus, despite what that intro said, although if you're watching on the VOD, I will have fixed it already, so it doesn't matter. But that's not the important part. The important part is this is our 100th regular episode of Scribes and Scrolls. And then there were two, Cari and Gary, the only ones that made it all the way to the end. Although, rumor has it, some familiar faces might be joining us for the grand finale. So we'll see how that plays out. We are in the home stretch. Don't know exactly how long we have left, because it depends on how quickly you make your way through, and whether you succeed or not, I guess doesn't matter, but you make your way through this final challenge. But we're looking at somewhere between 3 and 5, I would say, safely, counting tonight. So yeah, it's the home stretch. It's been over 3 years at this point. I believe we started in March 3 years ago. Speaking of 3 years, Gary, with that 3-year subscription, which means I owe you a tome. Also, Cari, I owe you a tome as well.
I think in honor of my 3-year subscription, you should give me 3 tomes.
I think you said the same thing over something else at some point. You wanted.
They grow exponentially.
Tomes are a way that you, the audience, can have an influence on our game simply by subscribing, resubscribing, gifting subs, cheering 500 bits, or tipping $5 will earn the players domain tomes that they can use for things like re-rolling. They can, I think it's a re-roll, isn't it? I forget in this game.
No idea.
It's not like it's been a month since we last played. You can use 1 to re-roll and take the new result or draw a hero point card. 3 to avoid certain death. 5 to change the success level of any die roll up or down by 1 degree. And that's how those work. The only other announcements I want to make real quick, since we're already starting a little bit later. One is that we are adults portraying fictitious characters in a fantastic setting. You may hear graphic depictions of violence, intense, dramatic roleplay, or sensitive topics, including, but not limited to, divorce, bullying, alcohol, and substance use and abuse, and more. If this is something that doesn't appeal to you, we encourage you to take care of yourself and leave the stream. I would like to issue an additional content warning following last week's episode. While we do stay, one of our lines tends to be, we don't want to see on-screen violence against children. There is instances where a child's life is in danger in our current storyline. So please take that under advisement when you're deciding whether or not to watch this. But be rest assured that we have safety tools in place for this game. All players have participated in the session 0. We've discussed our specific lines and veils, and we use a traffic light system for our safety tools in all of the MTD games, and it's a way that we keep everybody safe at the table. We encourage you to use safety tools and session zeros and things like that in your own game sessions. There is a link in the chat, bit.ly/TTRPG safety toolkit, all one word, will take you to the online safety toolkit, which is actually a Google Drive that has some documents that explain the different safety tool systems, X card, traffic light system, all that kind of stuff. So please do check that out. The final thing that I would like to mention is just a reminder that you matter. Your presence on this earth makes a difference, whether you believe that or not. It is true. There are any number of reasons why you might be struggling or need somebody to talk to, regardless of what that reason is. We want it to be as easy as possible for you to find the help you need. Simply come to chat, type !help, and a couple of URLs will pop up. Those are findahelpline.com, or you can check out the growing list of resources at takethis.org. We encourage you to check out those websites, bookmark them, save them for yourself, save them for a friend, and remember, you matter. With that, for the 100th episode, not the 100th time, but for the 100th episode, Cari, what time is it?
It's time to find some paths, bitches.
So most recently, you all made way via the Zephyrhawk into the Eye of Dread and the Gravelands. Your arrival was what some would call a crash landing, digging your airship into a very long furrow of a intermittent dry riverbed. Upon arrival, you all saw images of important people to you in various states of death. And you individually found your different ways to deal with that before a surprising sight and sound of a cabin arriving out of the woods on giant chicken legs came running up, settled into the ground, and both a little girl who we now know is Teera, little Teera, is Kane's daughter, and Kane and Teera's mother, Melina Frostheart, the Frost Witch, who has taken them into her home, and they are traveling across the land inside where Melina laid all the cards on the table and has said, "Look, this is how it is. You're gonna do this thing, and you're gonna do what I want you to, because Teera, little Teera, and Melina's lives have been bonded together. As long as both of them live unharmed, they are fine. But if one of them is harmed, the other one is harmed, as a form of insurance against you trying to hurt her. It's also important to note that she is technically not alone, because the other two members of her coven, Venora Briarheart and Ravona Shadowheart, are with her at all times, in the form of their heads are on her shoulders, though she conceals them beneath a cloak. They seem to almost fold in and be indistinguishable, but she can reveal them. She is in and of herself her own hag coven, as it were.
Gross.
Witch coven.
Effing disgusting.
But we, at the end, you were left to your own devices in the traveling hut. You've noticed that there are a number of doors around this hut. You've already seen that each door has a different sequence of knocking that seems to reveal what's on the other side. Melina herself retired to the library, and has left you all to have whatever discussions you would like to have, or whatever you would like to do, until you arrive at your destination. So that is where we are at. You guys may make any plans, have any conversations you would like to have prior to the arrival, at which point we will skip to the arrival. What would you like to do?
I think for a while after Melina disappears into the other room, did she leave little Teera with us?
Yes.
Okay.
Little Teera, I think in the aftermath of the demonstration, where little Teera cut her hand with the knife, and then Melina quickly healed it. Kane has rushed over to her and is looking her hand over thoroughly and making sure she's okay, and has sort of protectively held on to her as Melina made her exodus from the room.
I think Teera then is just sort of she's for a long time staring at that door that Melina disappeared through, and she's still sitting in this chair by the fire. And then after kind of a long while, her eyes just sort of drift and are just kind of staring into this fire, kind of numb.
Flip is going to allow Teera some moments of grief, and he sees her spiraling into herself, and he's going to leave her there for a while before he walks over and he grabs the largest chair at the central table that he can, and he drags it over from the central table all the way around toward Teera, and the metal nubs on the wooden floor sound like fingernails across the chalkboard, like a chalkboard. And he is dragging this chair as slow as he possibly can.
It's like that scene in Men in Black.
And he hops up beside Teera, and he's going to start staring into the fire, and he's going to lean over and he's going to whisper, this is pretty boring, Teera.
Flip, I'm just trying to think.
You're scared, worried, stressed.
As soon as the word scared comes out of his mouth, she like flicks over at him. She's like, I'm not.
You can lie to yourself, Teera, but you can't lie to me. I have written multiple books on psychology.
Well, what do your books say about all of this then? Since you know everything.
As she says that, Flip is going to lean in. And he's going to whisper to her. And he's going to say, she made a mistake. And that's why we're going to win.
And even in this brief conversation, Teera just kind of still seems more or less out of, like, kind of just not focused. And then as soon as Flip says she made a mistake and that's why we're going to win, Teera kind of comes back to herself a little bit more. And she looks and she's like, what do you mean?
Every room that Melina's been in, every place that she's gone, every plan that she's hatched, she's been the smartest person there. She's been 1, 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of whomever she's engaging. She has an unflinching ability to look into the future and know what is to come. Her mistake is that in this room, she isn't the smartest person. And that's why we're going to win.
Teera laughs and she kind of smiles sadly because she's kind of always assumed that Flip is just sort of fluff. Like he talks himself up quite a bit, and when he says that she's not the smartest person in the room, Teera kind of is a little like disappointed because like she doesn't know if Flip is smarter than her, and she would just kind of like nod and be like, all right, well, what's the plan then? Because I sure as shit don't have one.
He's going to pat her on the leg, And he's going to say, if you were Melina, what would you do in this situation?
Well, I guess, I mean, I would do what she just did.
Mhm.
I would, hold little Teera hostage, as it were. Make it so we can't harm her or, manipulate us. It's hard for me to put myself in her headspace, Flip. I'm not an evil bitch. At least I don't think I am. And Teera kind of like looks at herself.
Well, Teera, allow me. Let me be more pointed in my question.
Please do. I am so very, very dumb.
I didn't say you were dumb,
You have told me I'm dumb many times, right to my face.
but not this time. Listen to the words that I'm saying.
Tara, like, her face kind of crunches up, like she is really trying hard to listen. Tira is thinking harder than you've ever seen her think. She's trying.
The fact of the matter is, she needs us to perform a task.
Oh, yeah.
Which gives us the power.
Yes.
And she's done the worst thing that she could have done. You get it, right?
I think so. What's the worst thing she could have done? Left us alive?
Okay, no. Well, yes, but no.
Okay.
Her only leverage over us,
yeah,
was the life of your niece.
Yes.
Right? Because if she does something to your little niece, then you're going to do something stupid, and Kane's going to jump in, and I inevitably will have to save you, which will cause a rumble, and it'll be in the jungle. People might buy tickets. It will be a schmozzle.
Of course.
You with me so far?
Yes.
Okay. She has inextricably linked her life with the life of her leverage, which means she can no longer threaten little Teera.
And
because
that's good.
If she threatens little Teera,
yes,
she will then herself die.
Ah, okay. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Right. With me so far?
Yes.
Okay. And then, if she were to say, oh, I have made this mistake, and then somehow, I don't know much about blood magic, but if she were to somehow go back and then remove the connection between herself and little Teera, then we could just attack her.
Ah, I see.
Yes. So she can't do anything.
She can't do anything.
She has no power.
The leverage that she thinks she has isn't really leverage.
I mean, she may kill Kane, and that's something you're going to have to deal with, but the niece is fine.
I take issue with that.
I look over at Kane concerned.
And you're forgetting about one thing, Flip.
Okay, I'm not forgetting about anything, but first of all, what I would say is, if I was you, and I'm not because I'm way cuter, you would trade your life for your daughters in a heartbeat. So why are you even interrupting my monologue?
Because you're forgetting. It's not just about Teera's life. She wants to take my daughter. Away.
She wants to make her a witch.
She wants to make her a witch.
Aren't we going into a temple to find some magical wishing lotus plants?
Yeah. And there's got to be a reason that she can't go in. Because she needs us to go in, right?
Right. Now you're picking up what I'm putting down.
So what you're saying we do, just not go in?
No,
we need to go in.
Of course we need to go in. Well, the story has to end. We can't just keep going and stand outside the damn temple. That's a little bit anticlimactic for everyone. But Perhaps we can put a plot twist into the penultimate chapter. That's all I'm saying.
All right. I think I understand.
I mean, even if you don't, it doesn't really matter. You'll see what I'm doing and just follow my lead, as usual.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Teera looks over kind of reassuringly at Kane and be like, we're not going to let her do anything to little Teera. And we're not going to let her take her away either. It'll all be fine.
Well, I don't know if I'd say it'll all be fine, but you know, it could be worse.
It could definitely be worse.
Everybody roll perception for me.
23.
Nice.
33.
Or 22 for Kane. 33?
Mm-hmm. Natural 20.
So, Flip, you're the first one that notices that as you've been sitting near Teera over by the fire, and Kane has kind of come over that way and is standing there with little Teera and sort of looking at Teera, and whether it's your position, whatever it is, cinematically, it's like the camera shifts slightly, and we see that next to you, sitting in a rocking chair, as if she's been there the entire time, though you know she hasn't, is the elderly black dragonborn Auntie Nocturne from the Three Dragon Aunties.
Shit.
And she's just rocking in the chair. And as she sees you notice her, Flip, she says, I can tell you why Melina can't fetch the Black Lotus herself. If you'd like to know.
As soon as she talks, Teera goes, "Huh!"
I think even Kane is like, whoa.
She fucking appeared out of nowhere.
What's in it for you to tell us? I can do a lot of things. I don't. Like, I could tell Teera she's smart, but I don't.
I'm an observer. We are merely passengers, guests in this place of hers, and I kind of want to see how well you fare. I want to see if you can back up your mouth. And put your gold where your mouth is, as it were. So I'm not asking you for gold.
If we fare well, Melina loses. Why does that benefit you? Just because you like a show to watch?
I have no skin in this game. Although, if Melina and her peculiar coven were eliminated, my sisters and I would inherit this place by right of ownership. Possession is 9/10 of the law, after all.
Wouldn't
so
I
you want us
it?
to?
Don't all talk at once.
Flip.
You know, you say possession is 9/10 of the law. That's only true in Absalom. So, and as you know, I am one of the foremost legal minds on the continent. So I wouldn't challenge myself in a courtroom if I were you. But then again, not everybody's as smart as me. So, to be fair, I sometimes, you know, assume people are... Anyways, yeah, sure, go ahead. Say what you're going to say.
Maybe her information is a worthy trade then, Flip. I mean, we have places to live other than this hut. At least you do. So, maybe she tells us what she's going to tell us and we can give her the house when it's all said and done.
Sure. Don't be a turtle. Carry on.
on 1 second.
While Jake is taking a second, check us out on teespring.com. At teespring.com, we have all kinds of great t-shirts. We have all kinds of new designs for your fantasy-oriented and other TTRPGs. You can get them on hoodies, t-shirts, tank tops, mugs, stickers, and so much more. Teespring.com. Just search Mini Terrain Domain.
The reason that Melina has not retrieved, or does not retrieve, the Black Lotus for herself is because she doesn't want to give up her life. The Black Lotus resides in another dimension for a decade as it matures. And as you know, it is appearing to bathe in the light of the blood moon to finish its maturity. When the moon sets and the sun rises, the monastery will disappear. The temple will go back to the plane from which it comes. And then another 10-year cycle will begin. What a lot of people don't know is that the Raz Godai are protectors of the Black Lotus. And once upon a time, they had a leader named Manazusa. And to ensure that nobody could steal the Lotus while it was on this plane, he placed an anti-life barrier around its plot. No living creature can pass through this barrier.
What the hell are we supposed to do?
Well, as your little friend has so adamantly insisted, being the smartest person in the room, I'm sure he can figure it out. You will have to find a way to bypass this anti-life barrier. Only spirits, the undead, can traverse such a thing, unless you can find a way to destroy it.
And I look over at Flip, kind of like he has all the answers, and I would like shrug, like, how do we do something like that?
Considering I've had this information for 2 seconds, I only have 4 ideas. The first is to create undead to retrieve the lotus petals. The second is to rack my brain and try and figure out how to defeat an anti-life barrier. The third is to negotiate studiously with its guardians so that they understand our plight. And the fourth, I'll get back to you on that one. It seems to have slipped my mind, which is unfortunate because it was the best idea I had.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what it looks like when we get there, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Cross that bridge when we come to it, as it were.
Yeah, because Teera, not every solution has to end in a battle.
Yeah. I'm about battled out, to be honest. I'd like to just talk our way out of it for once.
Sometimes a fist to the face isn't as good as a stroking of the ego.
If you seek to find a way through without fighting, it's going to be challenging. Once the Roskodai know you are there, they will do whatever they can to stop you. Perhaps you can find one amongst their ranks who could be considered an ally. It is also said, if you are looking to take the more diplomatic route, that there is an Oni who watches over the Rosgodai's archives of knowledge. If you would like to, you can make a recall knowledge to learn what an Oni is.
What kind of knowledge?
1 second, and I will tell you.
Also, is it known what the Rosgodai are? Like, what species are they? Are they an order, or are they a species?
You have to ask more questions, I guess.
Oh, I was just wondering if that was common knowledge or if we needed to ask. I wasn't sure.
This is the first you've ever heard mention of the Rosgodai.
Okay.
You can make a hold on. Not totally. You can make an unspecified lore check, a specific lore check, or you can make a tell me what the dang check is. Humanoid society would be the check.
I'll just make bardic lore.
I have lore warfare. Does that work? No. I'll do society.
17.
Oh, I also got a 17. Society for me.
Actually, hold on. Let me see how good old Kane does here on Kane rolled a 7, so he don't know anything.
He don't know shit.
No, so you. Alright, hold on. Something's acting weird because of the. Over here. What you know about Oni is that they are magical, or magic using rather, ogres and giants. They tend to be of giant kin, most notably ogres that have an innate abilities with various types of magic. They tend to be more intelligent than other ogres.
And can I ask then, I would ask, so like what are the rest of the Rosgodai? What are they?
They are dedicated to protection of the Black Lotus. There's a reason why the temple appears in the Eye of Dread every 10 years. They have ties to the undead, but also they are fiendish in nature. Skilled, some of them, very skilled warriors. But always there are those among them that are learning and training. It is the Rosgodai monks who are the more dangerous.
Yeah. But what are they, though? That he's a goblin, I'm a human. What are they?
Why does that matter?
Because it's a little easier to think about whooping on 100 halflings than 100 ogres, or giants, or demons, or devils, or whatever the fuck they are.
When I first met you, you were a half-orc, a giant of some sort, a dark elf, and a turtle man. The Rosgodai could be just as varied, for all I know. I've never actually been there.
I see.
Know that they are united in their desire to protect.
I guess that's all that matters then, really. When you say there's warriors and monks, anything else that you know of? Or is it just as varied as their species?
The only other thing that I know is that Manazusa was at one time the leader of the Roskodai, and, for all I know, still maintains his control. It was he who created the anti-life barrier with his dying breath. To prevent any but him from entering. But, as I said, you are apparently among genius, and should be able to find a way around such a barrier.
So let's ask a question then. So you know how Melina sucked the soul out of Teera's boyfriend, and now it's floating around, bodiless and whatnot.
Sure.
Right.
I guess.
I didn't write the story. This is just what happened.
I love it.
And is there a way, given that it was Melina who forced his spirit from his body, perhaps his spirit is somehow tied to Melina, and therefore we could commune with his spirit and potentially bypass the barrier that way? God knows. There have been moments in the dark where we've been sitting around the campfire and I've seen Teera, stoic, stone-faced Teera, her eyes soften and a gentle smile. I can only think that that is the caress of her, can I say lover? I don't know. Her dude?
Yeah.
So, I wonder if he hasn't been with us the whole time. Because if I was writing a story, that's how I would do it. And perhaps if we were able to connect with him in some way, given the proximity to his murderer and whatnot, we could then work with him to bypass the life barrier. Again, I only had the 2 seconds, so these are just the 4 ideas I came up with immediately in the moment. I might come up with something else.
It's very impressive, Flip.
I thought so.
I pat him on this tiny, tiny shoulder.
He's over here chirping me.
Perhaps. This is something you can discover within the sanctity of the temple. Did you... And she turns to look at at Teera. Didn't you, when I first met you, have one amongst you who was the giant?
Doc.
Was not exactly alive, but not dead.
Yes, Doc.
He would be an ally to have in a time like this.
Yes, he sure would. Unfortunately, we don't.
As Anti-Nocturne says that, Teera may notice out of the corner of her eye, Flip grabbing his knee and holding on to it tightly, as if almost a reaction that he can't control.
And I kind of like look over, and you say I noticed that. I would look over and I'd be like, "You all right, Flip?"
Yeah, no, I'm fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. And he's gonna like.
How are you?
He's gonna rub his thigh, and like he was doing it subtly, and then he's gonna sort of like let his hand come toward his side.
I I imagine I would like look like I turn my chair almost, or at least I turn the way I'm sitting in it, and I'm facing Flip entirely. Now I'm totally not concerned with the dragon auntie anymore. I'm like, you're not fine. What's wrong?
His eyes dart back and forth, and he no, all good. Just this is my formulating face.
And how come I haven't seen it before? Ever.
Well, now it's really life and death. I feel like I have to break out the big guns, as it were, to once again save your bacon. It's almost like I'm flitting between situation and situation that somebody else has screwed up and saving it, saving the day, being the hero. I really, based on my exploits so far, they're going to run out of parchment and run out of ink to tell
I
my
want to
story.
do a perception check, I know sense motive isn't a thing anymore, but I want to do like
perception functions as insight. Found that out.
Okay. I will do a perception check then. Ugh. I want to use a tome and re-roll, please. Okay, that's better. That's a 31.
Your sense moding flip.
Flip. I want to know what the fuck is up here. I want to, because obviously this is very unfamiliar. Like, I want to know, does he seem nervous? Does he seem like he's in pain? Like, what's the deal?
Sorry, just let me look at my 6 abilities that affect my deception. Hang on.
Okay.
See what they all do. Okay, you can do when they lie to you.
Oh, this fucking guy right here.
Oh, confabulator. Yep, that's one too. Even when you're caught in a lie, I can reduce the circumstance bonus you get for a previous lie from 4 to 2. If you're a master in deception, reduced by 1. Oh, I think I'm a master. Okay, great.
I made a pretty good roll, buddy.
Okay, I'm going to send a note to Jake just so he knows exactly what I rolled.
Secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone.
Flip seems completely fine. He seemed to, his knee was a little shaky, but he seems fine now. Although the only thing you might notice is that there's some distance in his gaze. Now he might have turned his eyes to the fire and has gotten lost in it somewhat.
Teera kind of just assumes, for lack of knowing, she just assumes that he's afraid. Like, this is a look she has seen. Or she thinks she's seen. This is her best interpretation. This is a look she's seen before from like young orc warriors that are like going into their first battle. Like, this is familiar, if not exactly what it is. So that's what she assumes is happening. And she doesn't say anything. She doesn't poke at him about it.
You hear the creaking of the rocking chair and the snap, crackle, pop of Auntie Nocturne's joints, the thunk of her cane as she places it and uses it to rise up from the rocking chair. She takes a couple steps forward and says, "I only have one question for you." And she points a gnarled finger at little Teera. "Would you like some hot chocolate?"
Oh, God.
And little Teera's eyes immediately light up. "Oh, yes. Oh, yes." And Auntie Nocturne turns to the fire, and as she moves from where she briefly passed in front of it, there's suddenly a kettle that's brewing over top. And on the mantle are several... not only are there several mugs, they are your mugs from the Mug Club.
From the Mug Club!
But it's not just Teera. You see for everybody who got a mug, including those who are not with you anymore.
Oh.
And there's an additional identical mug for Kane and one for little Teera. And Auntie Nocturne ladles some hot chocolate into a mug and hands it to little Teera and says, "Be careful and blow on it. You don't want to burn your tongue." And then she looks around at the rest of you.
I would like some hot chocolate, please.
And we'll ladle hot chocolate out for anybody who wants it.
Flip is going to reach out, and he just randomly he's not looking. He randomly grabs a mug off the rack, and he lets Auntie Nocturne pour the hot chocolate in it. And as he sips the hot chocolate, Teera will notice that the mug says Dockler.
And for just a second, Teera thinks to like tell Flip to stop. Like that's not his. And there's still a fair amount of like grief. Like we've lost Doc. He's essentially like, and she stops herself and she just lets him keep drinking.
Auntie Nocturne, after providing you all with a hot chocolate, says, "To help yourself, as much as you would like," as she turns and heads back through one of the doors, giving a few knocks in pattern, opening the door and passing through. And the rest of the night, unless you have other things you want to talk about, will pass uneventfully as you all are able to... In fact, I think it would be little Teera that would go to one of the other doors and knock a simple knock, 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 knock. Open up the door, and inside it looks like a well-appointed room at an inn with more beds than there are members of your party. A crackling fire in there, wash basins, a divided room with a bathtub that is heated. So you can have the benefits of a full and complete rest in this place.
Yay! Thank you. Teera, I think, would avail herself of a bath. Less for comfort and more because, like, her muscles work better when they're warm. And that's kind of like she thinks every advantage she can get, the better.
I think when you do go in behind the partition and are taking your bath, you hear a couple footsteps outside the partition, and you just hear the slight wood on wood scrape as a chair is moved and placed. And you can just see around the edge of the partition, you can see a booted foot that is somebody sitting away from you. And then you hear Kane's voice. "Are you all in on this?"
And Teera kind of like is bracing herself in the tub, and she's like, Is he talking to me? You talking to me?"
"Yes, I'm talking to you. Are you all in?"
Oh yeah, what do you mean? Of course I am. Like, what do you mean?
"I will do anything to protect young Teera and be able to take her away from here.
Yeah.
I want to be sure that you are on the same page."
Well, Kane, of course I am. I mean, why wouldn't I be? Why do you even need to ask?
"What are you going to do? We get in there and we somehow fight our way through if necessary, or talk our way through, and we get to this Black Lotus. And there's only one."
And at this point, I think Teera is coming around the edge of the partition, and she's clothed. She doesn't have her like armor on, but she just has like a tunic, and she's kind of like rubbing her hair with a towel. or whatever. And she would look at him and be like, Kane, I'm gonna do the right thing. I'm gonna do I've always tried to do the right thing. You need to trust me on that. If it comes down to him or her, I'll choose her.
You see him kind of look over to the nearby bed where little Teera is sound asleep under the covers. And without looking at you, he just says, I hope so. I'm trusting that you are.
And Teera, like, it's a tough spot because she understands like his trepidation, and she herself is torn, so she understands. But that said, at the same time, she's a little bit hurt that he is clearly a little bit untrusting of her. But she gets it at the same time, and she just sort of like nods and realizes they're kind of at an impasse, and keeps kind of drying her hair and goes back around the edge of the partition to continue kind of getting ready.
You hear the scrape of his booted foot against the ground and the chair being moved, and when eventually you come out from behind the partition to go to bed, you see that Kane is now sitting on the floor with his back against the bed right near where little Teera is sleeping. He's choosing not to sleep in another bed. He's sleeping leaning against the bed with his head nearby hers.
Can I add one tiny thing? I imagine at this time, little Teera has kind of, in her sleep, has kind of come uncovered, and Teera just walks up as quietly as she can, trying to not wake up Kane, and kind of like covers her up and like puts her hand on her little shoulder for a second, and then just walks away and goes to bed.
And with that, I wasn't going to do this, but we're going to take a very quick break because
Perfect.
I'm
I gotta pee.
drinking a lot of water. So
I'm drinking a lot of something else.
So we're going to take at least a 5-minute, maybe up to 10-minute break, and we will be back. We'll see you on the other side. And we're back.
Everyone peed.
So you are all awakened by a jostling. You feel a little bit of movement, almost like being on a ship, as you also feel that a slight feeling of not sudden, but you can just somehow you can sense that feeling of lowering. But the real jostling is coming from little Teera, who is running around to each of your bunks and shaking you awake. We're here. We're here.
Teera kind of sits up with a start and like looks around at other people. It's like kind of frantically for a second, like she's forgotten where she is. And then just kind of gets up pretty quickly and starts grabbing her shit. And starts putting on her like real clothes.
And Kane is climbing up from the floor where he was sleeping and kind of cracking his neck and stiff joints as he also is going about putting on his armor and gathering his stuff. You too, Flip, are awoken by little Teera jostling you. Going out into the main room of the cabin, you see that Melina is standing there with the front doors open, the front door of the cabin open, and you can see that outside it is dark, the dark of night, but you can see a dim red glow. And as you enter the room, she looks at you and says, "Oh, good. I thought you were going to sleep through it. Come. The temple is about to arrive." And she motions you toward the door.
I would go kind of tentatively. I'm sort of waiting to go like together with Flip. And with
Yeah,
Hank.
Flip will go.
You see, as you head to the door and sort of all step out on the porch, you can see that the house has settled into a little bit of a lowland area. And there appears to be a stone path, almost as if it was intentionally made for this cabin, leading away to about 100 yards away. There's a large rise in the ground, the terrain. You can see beyond it. You can see the moonlight reflecting off of the large lake that's behind it. And looking up, you can see that the moon is full and is the source of the red light, but it is partially obscured by clouds. After a moment, the clouds move away from the moon, and the entire landscape is bathed in a red light. You see this mound of earth in front of you. Think Weathertop, Lord of the Rings, this sort of little plateau. You watch as if a mirage appearing before you. These massive stone walls and a couple of towers rise up. And within moments, the temple has appeared. Along with it, as the light continues to shine down, you see a series of stone steps winding their way down the face of this plateau. It's 100 feet tall and looks to be about 300 feet wide, this plateau. Wow. That this monastery or temple sits atop. You can't tell if it's the light themselves or because of the light of the moon, but all around the temple, wherever there are entryways or any sign of windows, you see red lanterns glowing. At the top of the winding stone staircase, you see what looks like a very large set of doors and some sort of entry gatehouse in front of it. You have arrived at the temple, and it has appeared before you.
So Teera is kind of like just looking this thing up and down and trying to kind of take it all in, and she kind of whistles, and she like looks at Flip and just kind of shrugs. I'm like, do we go?
Yeah, I guess so.
Is Melina walking with us, or is she just kind of saying like, go ahead?
She's standing there with little Teera in front of her and just has her hands on little Teera's shoulders. Like they're seeing you off.
Okay. Okay.
Good luck.
And so,
You have... She glances up at the moon. About 8 hours. if you are inside the temple, when the moon sets, you will be taken to the other plane, where the temple goes. Don't let that happen.
And Teera would kind of like look at Kane and look at Flip, and then she would like one more time look down at little Teera and like kind of like just like give her like a little like bump on the chin. And then Teera would, for herself, she would start off towards the frickin' stairs.
I think as you all are heading towards this, like I said, it's about 100 yards to the base of the stairs. We see sort of from the perspective of the cabin as you're walking towards this thing. And we watch as you grow smaller as you begin climbing up this 100-foot staircase. And then eventually we sort of switch to a scene from the viewpoint at the top, looking at the top of the staircase as we see you all cresting that top stair, arriving at the gatehouse to the Temple of the Black Lotus. You see an ornate set of double doors. For directional purposes, the monastery from entry, where these double doors are, is at the westernmost edge. And the monastery seems to be longer in the west to east direction than the north to south direction.
Okay. So you said it's a gatehouse. Is there anybody at the gatehouse? Is it like a toll booth?
Nope. It just seems to be where the doors are that would lead to the entry.
Okay. Is there a knob? Is there a handle?
Yeah, they're doors.
Just doors.
They're doors with handles and locks and
I kind of like Teera like rears back like she's gonna boot the door open, and then she is like puts her foot down, and then she looks over at Flip and she nods. and she'd be like, should we check it first?
Yeah, I mean, probably.
Can you check it, Flip? I'm not great at that sort of thing.
All right. Sure. What can I use to check out the door?
your hand.
All right. Can I just look at it first instead of touching it?
I mean, yeah, you're basically going to do like a... Hold on.
Just like give it a good once over.
Yeah.
So, I'm basing a lot of this is coming from the Arcane Library's module designed for 5th edition. And I've adjusted it for Pathfinder. So, I have to resist when it says to do a, the D&D type checks.
Oh, I guess I could make a thievery check, couldn't I?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good, that's a good.
Yeah.
That's if you're going to
Reasonable.
attempt to pick a lock or disable a
Oh.
device.
Okay.
I really think in this case, if you're just trying to determine if the door's locked or trapped or anything like that, would probably
Yeah.
be your perception.
All right.
Makes sense.
29.
Hey,
Door does not appear to be trapped in any way, but it does appear to be securely locked.
All right. Does it look like the monastery walls can be climbed, or
They do. They're made of stone. It looks like it'll
Does
take
it
an
look like?
effort. You're gonna have to climb up about 30 feet to scale this wall.
All right.
Does
Go ahead.
Does it look like this door can be punted? Is this a puntable door?
In an interesting turn of events, it looks like your initial instinct may have been
Oh
right.
my god! As Flip is trying to make an alternate plan, Teera freaking punts the door.
Go ahead and make me a dexterity saving throw. I'm just kidding.
No, shut up.
Well, first
So
off,
as
that would be
Teera is
reflex.
kicking the door, Flip is like taking out a grappling hook, and he's like, "And if the door had an alarm on it,
Athletics.
like a secret alarm, when we're trying to, stealth our way to find the Oni in the library who might be able to help us with our quest? No,
Can
no,
use a
this is
tome.
great. This is great. Perfect. Perfect. Love it."
32.
32?
Toothpicks. Yes.
You give it a good solid kick right between the doorknobs on this double door, and you hear the sound of splintering wood as you break the locks and the doors swing open,
Awesome.
revealing to you there is this is the gatehouse, and you see a space that is 30 feet wide and 20 feet across. There's just a couple of small alcoves about 5 feet deep on either side. But across from you, 20 feet to the other side, you see that there is a cloth curtain hanging that's covered in some kind of writing. There are splits in the fabric, like the way the curtain hangs, that you can, if you go up to it, it would allow you to peer through into the other room. What languages do either of you speak?
I speak Common, Jotun, and Orcish.
I speak Abyssal, Aklo, Celestial, Common, Draconic, Elven, Goblin, Jotun, Necro, Orcish, Shadow Tongue, and Utopian.
Jesus crumps. What the fuck is Utopian? I've never even heard of that. That is so impressive.
It's the language of the automatons and the clockwork plane.
No shit. Learn something new every day. This has been your Pathfinder 2e lesson here at Mini Terrain Domain. Welcome.
So the fact that one of the languages is one that you recognize, Abyssal.
Fuck.
As if embroidered into these curtains, you recognize the Abyssal language.
Okay, and what does it say?
This is telling what seems to be in the style of a children's story or a fable some kind, but it's relaying the story about a fiery lion demon, not a lineman, a fiery lion
Say that 10 times
demon
fast.
named Octru. And it tells, the fable seems to relay that in essence the lion demon challenges people who come into its home to guess its name. And if they can't guess its name, he burns them with his fiery breath.
Okay.
That is his name, Octru, That's what you see. I put it in the chat that you see in the minus the semicolon.
So the thing says that if you can't guess his name, he burns you with his fiery breath, but it tells you what his name is.
Yes, it's not a riddle. It's a fable. It's like a children's story that tells you about the demon, that he would challenge people to guess his name. And if they couldn't guess his name, he would burn them with fire. And at the end of the story, he is finally outsmarted by a child who guesses what his true name is.
Is there anything else in this room other than this, like, tapestry?
Stone walls. The ceiling's about 20 feet high. These embroidered curtains to the east. That's it. In this room.
Okay.
So, Teera, realizing that they probably got pretty fucking lucky that this room wasn't full of the Razgadai, kind of retreats back and kind of insinuates Flip should kind of lead the way.
Oh, so it's just fortunate that the guard tower didn't have any guards in it, huh?
Yeah, well, Flip, the alternative was taking it too much time. This is a timed exercise, you know?
Uh-huh. And,
Didn't want to waste an hour climbing over the wall.
an hour?
Well, to be fair,
An hour?
not all of us are as strong as others, Flip.
Uh-huh. You want to race up the wall? See who gets there first?
It would take you at least 15 minutes, at least. And then another 15 to climb down.
Remember that time
If you were going fast.
Remember that time I said I wasn't calling you dumb? I take it back. I take it back. 100%.
Anyway, clock's ticking.
So we'll go forward, I guess. Like, just passively scanning this shit and seeing what's what.
So
yes, I will aid in the passively scanning the shit.
As you walk across the room to the curtain, you can peer through the curtain into the other room. You see that the next chamber looks to be about roughly 30 feet wide and 25 feet across. There's a set of double doors all the way across. There's a large ornate rug that's covering the entirety of this floor. And glancing through, looking left and right, you can see that on the north and south walls there are 5-foot doorway openings. Throughout these rooms that you've seen so far, unless otherwise specified, these are 20-foot tall ceilings, and the lighting is dim. But you don't see any or hear any people.
Okay.
So Teera just kind of goes like, whoa. Left or right? Or straight, I guess.
Left is right, right is wrong. Did the fable give us any insight into where we could go, or was this a nice story?
Good guess. Good thought.
Seemed to be a nice story.
Okay. Sure, left then.
Left.
Do you pass through the curtain and start to make your way towards that left alcove?
Yes.
How are you moving through this place? Are you moving with stealth, or are you moving
Yeah, we're moving stealthily.
Stealth. Yeah.
I will require stealth checks from you.
Okay. I got a 16.
Okay.
Can't do a super ton better than that, so I'm going to leave that roll to stand.
If I rolled a 0, I would also get 16.
Jesus crumbs. That's pretty impressive. We are two different people.
But I didn't roll a 0. I rolled a 16, so I got 32.
Ah, damn, son.
32. And
Doubled me up.
let's see what Hakeem's doing here with stealth. Kane rolls a 33. Kane, as you guys start moving, Kane just glances over at you, Teera, and just looks at you and just goes like this. Shh.
I'm trying. Quietness is not my thing.
Try not to step on every creaky floorboard.
How the fuck am I supposed to know which one's a creaky?
He kind of rolls his eyes and just points down at the stone floor.
Teera doesn't say anything, but she's really trying to be quiet.
What is each of your perception score?
13.
16.
Okay. So you begin to make your way quietly across the room towards this alcove door. Are you walking through? Are you checking the way before you go? Who's leading the way?
Flip is leading the way. He's definitely going to check before we go through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I'm kind of waiting on him. Tira's so focused on being quiet that she's not focused on much else.
You glance through and you see another room that looks to be about the same size. You can see, the first thing you notice is that directly opposite this doorway, about 30 feet away, is a statue of a lion.
Flip is going to pay particular attention to its eyes. Do they appear to be moving as if scanning or guarding?
Good question.
Looking at this statue,
Peeking at this statue, to be clear.
Yeah, peeking at this statue. It
casually
just
glancing,
looks like
yes.
a stone statue.
Okay.
It's from what you can see, it's one of those like stylized statues where it's a lion, but it kind of looks like somebody described a lion to somebody. But the eyes, as a lion is a predator, of course, the eyes are in the front, and you can see you kind of steal a couple quick glances, and they appear to be stone.
Quick question that may or may not matter. Did Flip share the fable of Aktru with Teera at all, or did he keep that to himself?
He probably kept it to himself. He just told her it's a fable, a children's story.
Gotcha. Okay. Teera's delighted by the illustrations, by the way. So we just kind of continue on, I suppose. Quietly, stealthily, glancing all the while.
Stealthily dart across the pathway.
So you're going into that room then?
Yeah. Sure.
As you step into the room, the eyes of the lion immediately light up with a reddish orange light as flame erupts from the mouth of the lion. And I need you both to make reflex, or all three of you actually, to make reflex saving throws.
Touch nothing but the lamp. Okay, here we go. Reflex.
There's Kane.
Hey, I got a 35 reflex check.
Okay. Oh.
Save.
Kane gets a 31.
Natural 20, 38.
God damn, we're so reflexive.
What did you get, Teera?
35.
as you step into the line of sight of this lion, flame shoots at you, and you all jump out of the way. Let's do that. 12. It's 27 from the first one. And
effing course.
27.
When I was possessed, I had fucking fire resistance. Thank God
15.
I'm not possessed anymore.
So 21 plus 50, or sorry, 27 plus 15 is 37, 42, 52, 59 total points, because also from the south, a gout of flame shoots all the way across from the room you were in and blasts at you. You are going to take 30 points of fire damage.
Oof.
As the flame is shooting at you, and as you dodge out of the way, there is essentially from this lion shooting off to the south to a direction you can't see, and coming from the south, there is now a continuous line of fire.
Shit. I want to get out of that immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to know, which direction did you dive?
So this
To
is
the left?
shooting.
Or to the right?
Left.
I would have dove right. I was just gonna say.
I'm gonna evens. Kane went left. Odds he went right. He went right. Teera and Kane dive to the right. Flip, you dive to the left. Teera and Kane, there is a wall of fire separating you from Flip. You can see the statue of the lion on the side that you are in. You're basically, it's 10 feet between the wall and this fire, 30 feet north and south, and no visible doors or windows. Flip, on your side, same thing, except to the west, more or less in the middle of the wall, there's a 40-foot hallway that seems to lead to a dead end. There's a lantern at the end of it. As
Is it
these
lit?
lions continue.
Is the lantern lit?
Yes.
Okay. Flip is gonna take a look at the lantern and see if he sees anything of note, if it's really a dead end or not.
Go ahead and make a... Can't remember if investigation is a thing on this one.
It isn't.
It's just perception.
Yeah. Make make a perception check. Teera, on your side, Kane is cursing, and immediately he's kind of moving along the wall. There's got to be something.
I'm helping him.
Look for something. Go ahead and roll perception on your side too.
Sure. Oh, I got a 34.
Okay. Kane gets a 27. Flip, what you get?
I got a 22.
From what you can tell, the lantern just appears to be a lantern. And this appears to be a dead-end hallway. Just from your sense of direction, it seems to be a portion of the monastery that was jutting out on either side of the gatehouse. To what purpose this is, you don't know. There's no furniture, furnishings, or decorations of any kind.
Okay. Can the lantern be moved?
I mean, yeah, it's hanging on a post from the partway up the wall.
Okay. Can they pull it up and down? Does it do anything? Is it like a lever?
You trying to pull on it, it doesn't seem to move in any way.
Blow out the lantern.
Ooh.
This hallway is now dark.
Okay. We'll walk back to the other room.
Right.
That felt very much like a DOS game, like where you typed in your fucking
Yeah.
path, the course of action.
As you walk back in, you see this statue of a lion breathing fire across in a line, closing off your path.
Does it look like I can use thievery to jam the mechanism so it stops breathing fire to make it easier to move around this room?
You can make a thievery check to see. I'll let you make a thievery check to determine if this is something that looks like you could do. In the meantime, Teera, you and Kane are sort of moving from the middle towards the corners. And Kane has moved towards the southern corner and kind of looks over at you and shakes his head. Mm-hmm. And you have moved towards the northern corner, and you're just all the way into that corner and sort of feeling along the wall and looking, and you place your hand on one of the stones and you feel it sort of wiggle a little bit.
Ooh, I want to pull it or push it or both, or just kind of like continue to like examine.
What do you got for your thievery check there?
Thievery?
Gary.
+4.
Oh, sorry.
Gary. Sorry.
Plus 16. Oh, 22, sorry.
22. Make me... I kind of think it would be perception again. Make me a recall knowledge. Use your bardic lore.
Okay. Oh, 17.
You just read a story about a lion who set fire to his enemies. Or to anybody who approached him if they couldn't guess his name.
Act true.
Zoom tight. Oh.
The flames go out.
Oh my god.
And you can see...
Teera, who's been wiggling this stone, goes, I did it!
Nice work, Teera.
You press in on... Actually, you haven't yet pressed in on it. As you say, I did it. Let me check something really quick. The note said it. Kane is, of course, going to come over there and see what it is that you found. I'm not sure. Okay, here we go. This one, let's see. I would like you... The way we're going to do this is I'm going to have you roll initiative as you are all three surprised as humanoid figures drop from the ceiling.
Ooh, shit,
you didn't
ninjas.
Detect them, so they get the drop on you, literally, and so they get a surprise round on you.
God damn it. We're rolling initiative?
Yes. Now, we'll grab those from you in a moment. Flip, what you got?
20. I'm sorry. 28.
Excuse me. 28.
Mm-hmm.
Teera?
I also got a 28.
Kane. It's a 31. And let's see what they roll. They rolled a... Here's perspective. There we go. They rolled a 33.
Damn, son.
So they're essentially going to get their surprise round on you, and then they're going to go first.
Shit.
What you see drop from the ceiling are absolutely these humanoid-looking creatures. They have dark red skin that seems to have veins of black, like marble almost, running through across their skin. They are shirtless. They have like leather pauldrons and leather gauntlets. They wear black leather boots and pants, and they have these sort of waist thing, almost like a I don't know what it's called, skirt. That they're black, but they on their reverse side they're red, and they are carrying swords, and each of them is, you see as they sort of pull out from their belts and sort of dangle them, they have razor chains with spiked hooks on the end.
Oof.
And they are going to make attacks at you each. So Teera, that's a 34 to hit.
That hits.
Hold 1 moment. Yes, it's a 34 to hit. Flip, that's a... Geez. That's a 40 to hit.
That'll hit.
And Kane is also a 40 to hit. So they all in unison, they swing out these hooks at you. And you each are going to take 17 points of piercing damage. 5 points of negative damage. This is evil damage, but I think that's a remaster rule. But we're calling it negative damage. And you will have 8 points of persistent bleeding, which means each round you are going to lose 8 points of bleeding damage until you take 2 actions to staunch the bleeding. That's the persistent bleeding. So that's their first attack. As they grab you with these chains, and they are going to reel you in.
Get over here.
Yeah, basically you're getting scorpioned.
That doesn't sound fun.
No,
I don't want to get
it should not
scorpioned.
be fun. And so yeah, they use their other action to reel you in, and they are going to, on their second turn, so at the top of the round now, the real round, you all, at the beginning of your turn, will take your persistent bleeding damage, so remember that. How much damage was it?
Oh shit. Total, I don't know. It's 14, then 5,
It
then
was
8.
15. Was it 14 or 15?
14, then 5, then 8.
19. So I gotta remember to subtract Kane's damage. Okay. For their next turn, they are going to I need you each to make a will save.
Will save. Oh, reroll. I'll take a tome. Shit, still not great. 23.
27.
Whoops, wrong button. And let's see, Kane also making a will save. Gets a 15 plus 16 is 31. Flip and Teera, unless you have anything that makes you immune, you are frightened. You have fear 1 as they each cast fear on you.
Okay.
Sorry, you have fear 2, not fear 1. That was for a failure. Kane has fear 1 or frightened 1 because he succeeded. So while you are frightened, you take a status penalty equal to the value, and then at the end of your turn it will decrease by 1. So you have a -2 to any checks you make, and Kane has -1. So they've all sort of hooked you in with these razor blades, pulled you close to them, and basically cast this emanating fear from themselves. It is now Kane's turn. Kane is going to whip around and try to put a hatchet into the one that has him.
What a stud.
That is a 33 to hit. So you see as he swings this hatchet around, he's going to attempt to do it again. That is a 34, but that becomes a 29. So Kane takes a couple of swipes at this thing, managing to do 9 points of damage, as he only hits 1 time with it. Teera and Flip, you are both up. You can decide amongst you how you two who wants to go first and how you want to do that.
You can go first if you want.
Sure, I will. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use 1 action to rage. And then I'm going to attack the one that is right by me with my big cool sword. Here I go. That's a 31 to hit.
That's a hit.
Nice. Okay. So that is okay. 15 is 27. 27 plus 6 is 33 normal damage, plus an additional 1 cold damage. I'm sorry, that was a 38 normal damage,
Okay.
and then 1 additional cold damage. And you know what? While I'm at it, so you mentioned to stop the bleeding, I have to take 2 actions. Can I take 1 now and 1 later, or does it have to be 2 together?
It's
on
a
the same
2 action task.
thing, so it's got to be on the same turn.
Yeah, you have to use 2 of your
Okay.
actions.
In that case, I will attack again with
Okay.
my -4 penalty. -5 rather, sorry. 35. That's a 30 to hit.
That hits.
Nice. Fuck yeah, dude. Let's go. Fuck this guy. Fuck your cult. Ooh. Holy shit, motherfuckers. 45. That's 45 normal damage plus an additional 1 gold damage.
So another 46.
Mm-hmm. And Teera is just like screaming, raging this whole time. And
Yeah,
it's
you're just wailing on this guy. You can take 7 points
Ice crystals of frozen blood.
7 points of bleed damage from your persistent bleeding.
Is it 7 or 8?
It was 8 the first time. It's 2d6.
Oh, it's 7 now.
Sorry. Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
I see.
I neglected
I
to
see.
say 2d6. I said the total last time. Flip,
Yes.
you see Teera
No
just
worries.
now close, just ripping into this guy with much success. What would you like to do?
Flip is going to he's gonna start dancing. And it's an autumn jig. And it's ensorceling for everyone who sees it. And then he's going to use 2 actions to staunch the bleeding.
What does your dance do?
Gives me negative energy resistance.
Oh. Excellent. And then you're going to staunch the bleeding so that you don't take...
Mm-hmm.
Let me just double check if that's it.
And why is it -5 for fear? Frightened
not.
2 is telling...
It's not. It was -5 because she used a second attack.
I see. Okay. I understand. Kane went first, and what did he do?
Kane just swung his hatchet a couple times at this thing.
Okay.
And managed to land a blow. You guys are now at you're now at fear level 1.
Nice.
And Kane is no longer frightened. It's the top of the round, and they are going to... Also, Teera meant to... Oh, never mind, sorry. They are going to... Seeming almost in unison as they sort of retract their chains, they are all going to sort of tumble away from all of you. Does anybody have an opportunity attack action? Or reaction, I should say.
I don't think I do.
Do you have no escape as a class feat?
I do not.
Kane has no escape as a reaction, which allows him, as this thing moves 30 feet away from him, it allows him to keep pace with it as a reaction. Ooh. He strides the same distance. And one of them, let's see. 1, 2, Flip. 3, 4, Teera. 5, 6, Kane. 3, 4 is Teera.
Okay.
The one that moved away from you sort of takes its chain, kind of wrapping it partway around its arm, and you notice that these these Rosgodai monks seem to have scars all over their arms. You can see why, as he creates this sort of a triangular shape by bracing the chain against his elbows, the razor wire digging in, holding up at the point, and that's when you see the arcane energy forming in the middle of it, as he is going to shoot a chilling darkness at you. That means that you need to make a... Where did it go? It doesn't say what kind of save it is.
I need to make a save of my choice. I choose
Sorry,
fortitude.
I'm terrible at spellcasting.
Right.
Still, I'm trying to see where it says.
Take your time, brother.
I'm going to say that it's a what's it called? Reflex save, because he's shooting a beam of energy at you. It is a cold ray of darkness tinged with unholy energy. Oh, you don't have to make a save. That's why I didn't say. I have to make a ranged attack against you.
Oh, phew.
My apologies.
That's fine.
So that is going to be a... flip. When you make your magical attacks, what do you roll as the, or what's your modifier that you use for magic?
It's the occult DC. So your occult DC
so
is...
it's whatever based on the tradition of magic. So for you, it's occult.
Yeah, except it's 10 less than the DC. So my attack bonus is +8. My DC is 28. I assume that's the
got it.
calculation.
So Teera, that is a 34 to hit you.
It hits.
1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15 points of you take 15 points of cold damage.
Oh, I have a resistance to that, so I will take only 10.
You are not holy.
I am not.
So you do not take extra spirit damage. Oh wait.
Teera is
oh no, you're not a
anything but a woman of
celestial.
God.
You're not a celestial, so yeah, there we go. You would have taken a heap more damage if you were.
Great. Here's to atheism.
Flip. The other one is going to attempt to whip chain you again. This is a 29 to hit.
Should still hit. My AC is only 25.
So you will take 21 points of piercing damage. You said you got resistance to negative, right? So you'll take... What's the resistant value?
5.
You'll take no negative damage.
Okay.
And you... Whoops. You are bleeding again for 7 persistent bleed.
Okay.
It is now Kane's turn. Kane is going to whip out his terrible place to pause.
What?
Kane whips out his blessed reformer. His that's what he calls it. His special hammer.
What do you think of that, baby?
And that is going to be a 37 to hit the guy that he was keeping pace with. And that is going to do 3d8. So 10, 12, plus 7 is 19 points of 19 points of damage to this thing. Take another shot at it. As Kane takes his second shot with his Blessed Reformer, you see that he's putting too much effort into the swings, and the creature, the monk, dodges out of the way as Kane swings with all the intensity that he was intending to put into a hit, but instead misses, as he has a critical failure. And I just lost what it was that he became. Drained. One. No, it's not drained. I'll figure out which one it is. Because I put the card away before I looked at which level it was. But that is Kane's turn. One good hit and one really bad miss. It's the two of you.
Flip's gonna go first this time.
Attaboy.
Flip is going to point at Teera, and he's gonna say, "Teera, you might be dumb, but you're pretty strong."
Teera just kind of like her. You see, like there's like a vein sticking out in her neck, and she's just like she's like pink in the face. Not sure you've ever gotten her attention when she's raging before.
You're never gonna win a spelling bee, but I put my money on you in the shot put. And you get a +1 status bonus to attack rolls, damage rolls, and saves against fear.
Hell yeah! Thank you. So say it one more time. Say the bonuses one more time.
Attack, damage, and saves against fear.
Thank you. +1 on attack, damage, and saves versus fear.
Actually, we all get it. We all get it. Never mind. So does Kane and me.
Hell yeah.
And then
It's a plus what?
it's a +1.
Okay.
+1.
And then Flip is going to
Fun fact while you're thinking, Cari, the person, was actually a shot putter in high school. So that's perfect. How topical.
Yeah. Flip is going to cast House of Imaginary Walls. And he is going to erect an invisible 10 foot by 10 foot stretch of wall adjacent to me, between me and the guy who's throwing shit at me. And the occult DC on that is 28. So we'll see about that. And then
I love the action you take to cast House of Imaginary Walls, though.
You love the action. You mime like
you do it.
I'm stuck in a box. I'm stuck.
You do an actual invisible like. That's great.
And then one action left. This. Sorry, I have lots of uses. I'm gonna phase bolt. Yeah, I'm gonna phase bolt the one that Teera is attacking.
Okay.
37.
The hit
Is it a critical hit?
is not.
Ooh.
23 piercing damage.
You can see that one in particular is in really bad shape.
And I'm done.
Nice.
Right. Teera.
So I think seeing that the one nearest Teera has taken this hit, Teera uses this small window of opportunity to kind of, she doesn't even like wrap her wounds, but she like kind of adjusts and like pulls like her clothes over top just enough that like her wounds kind of close on their own. She's not like putting pressure in the wrong place. She sort of has time to like assess herself and move accordingly. And then that is my 2 actions to get rid of that persistent damage. And then I am gonna attack with my 3rd action. I want to attack this fucker that Flip just attacked.
Hey.
Here I go. That is Jesus Christ. That is a 39 to hit.
That's a hit. Not
Is
quite
it
a
perchance
critical.
Not quite a critical. Fuck. I figured I'd ask. Anyway, here we go. 11 plus 14 is 25 plus 5 is 30. So that's 30 points of normal damage. Plus, holy shit, plus 6 because I'm raging. So that is 36. And an additional 2 cold damage. So 37 total.
How do you take this Rosgadai monk out?
So, again, this is very much a 1-2 punch from Flip and Teera. Like, Flip knocks it back and it kind of stumbles for just a second, and Teera just goes for the throat, essentially, and just like lurches forward and stabs him right through the frickin' sternum. Like, she didn't have to stab him here. She could have stabbed him through his soft belly or many other soft parts, but to send a fucking message, she stabs him right through the breastplate. And, like, kind of, like, forces him down to the ground and then very pointedly, like, steps on his chest and pulls up. And there's this shower of it almost looks like rubies, but it is frozen blood. Coming off of her sword.
Kurosawa with the
yeah, 100%, 100%.
As you step back, kind of pushing away from this guy, the way this battle has sort of happened, you just, in this moment, as what I'm about to narrate happens, you realize that with this guy now dead, and you sort of take a step back, the other 2 monks are more or less in the line of sight of the lion statue. From behind you, where you were messing with that loose stone, you hear the sound of stone sliding on stone, and you hear a deep voice say, "Look true." And the flame erupts from both of the lions, engulfing the 2 remaining as they begin screaming in pain as they fall to the ground in fire. As "Look true" is whispered again, you see a hulking figure, 12 feet tall, standing in this doorway, hunched down with a cloak over them. And you can just see for a moment the light reflected in the eyes of that fire, and still sort of dancing as pinpoints where the burning bodies of the monks are lying on the floor, and a large hand reaches out and motions for you to follow through the door. You can see through the open door as it takes a step in. You can just see that there's firelight in there, like lantern light and a red glow. But you see a long shelf where it's full of like scrolls and books and things like that.
Was the hand blue that beckoned us?
No.
Person in the cloak is not blue.
No. Why would it be blue?
We're
I don't
just
know.
curious.
Oh, it just
Gary's
seemed like a
clearly
really odd
stabbing
question
at
to
something.
ask. Seemed like an odd question to ask.
It's really not.
Good question.
Okay. Sure. We'll follow.
Moving into the room, the cloaked figure ushers you through and pulls the stone door closed behind him as you all rush into this room that is warmly lit. You see the bookshelves everywhere. 1 second. Here we go. Wait a minute. Why did you ask if he had blue?
Because we were looking for an Oni, and Oni and D&D are blue. So I was just wondering if that's the person we're looking for.
So, no, the reason I said that,
there's a bunch of scrolls.
Yeah, sorry. Yes. Well, this isn't D&D for one thing, but
I only know what I know.
It just threw me off, and then I went to the original description where it says blue skinned. But in this particular case, no, they are not blue. As you walk into the room and you see that this is a room appointed with scrolls, books, there's a large table in the middle with a very large, comfortable looking chair before a massive table where numerous books are laid out. Behind you, the cloaked figure sort of moves forward and around to where the desk is and looks at the three of you from beneath this hood, and then you hear, "I didn't think I was ever gonna see you again."
Is it
Now,
little one?
in this form, as he pulls the hood back, it's little one in ogre form. And as he says that, looking right at you, Teera, I need you to help me because I can't at the moment recall what his name became.
What do you think I am, Tamiko?
Right? I cannot for the life of me remember.
Hold on.
I'm
Vaughn Reed?
Vaughn Reed, thank you. As he looks at you, his shape changes and reduces in size, and it's again weird that you asked if he was blue skinned because in our D&D version of this, he had become a Goliath, which is sort of gray blue skin.
Bluish. Bluish.
But anyway, he becomes still looks like a giant kin of some kind. Still very tall, but you recognize Vaughn Reed standing before you as he runs over to you and kind of with arms wide, then he stops. "Can I hug you?"
And before he, I would say, as he gets to "can I," Teera just, throws her arms around him and just, is just, squeezing him hard. And because she knows she can, she's squeezing him about as hard as she can.
Flip is going to jerk a thumb at Vaughn Reed, and he's going to look at Kane and say, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
I was thinking the same thing. And that's where we'll end tonight's session.
That's perfect. Oh my god, I love him so much.
Sorry, I got hung up on the blue skin thing because.
All right, brother.
Well, the fact that he's not an Oni is crushing defeat for everyone who's ever watched this channel because I had the most incredible ending line for an episode, but it's all ruined now. I can't even
Hold
use
on.
it.
What?
What?
Do
Who
it
says
now.
he's not
Let's
an Oni?
pretend.
He is technically an Oni because he
Oh.
is an ogre.
Oh, okay. I don't know that tracks, but okay. It was help me, Oni one Kanoni. You're our only hope.
God. I appreciated it. Well done. Very well done.
I know Jay appreciated it.
A buzz.
He's
here.
I couldn't not bring him back in the last.
Little one is the man.
Little one who became Vaughn Reed.
Vaughn Reed.
At
yes.
the
temple of the.
It was a different temple. Yeah, it was the spa, the day spa that you guys were at. Where
is there a Lotus
changed.
Involved in that one too, or am I?
Actually, you know what?
My mind.
I think there was.
I think it was called the something of the Lotus.
The White Lotus.
I don't think it was the White Lotus, but
White Lotus is
it
a
was
hit
definitely
series on Netflix.
You guys were in. It was the Temple of the Restful Lily.
That was what it was.
So
there was a floral element of some sort.
Definitely a floral element, but so
I'm so pumped I came up with that name. I am so proud. Tamiko.
I could
Hashtag
not.
Tamiko. Shout out.
I could not remember that name for the life of me. And I'll be honest, right up until this moment, I had forgotten about the fact that he had transitioned to humanoid from ogre at the temple through the magic of one of the hags there. So
I love that he's here. I feel so safe now.
So you guys managed to stumble your way into the library.
We did it.
We will next week we will see what happens with conversations with Vaughn Reed and why is he here and what does he know, and because there is the little question of how in the heck is Vaughn Reed in a temple that appears every 10 years, though you just saw him less than a year ago.
And also, does he have any healing potions? That would be really great. Thank you.
How much damage did you take in the first combat of this temple?
67.
Wow.
Which is about a third of.
It's almost like you guys are level 10 in the final dungeon of a campaign.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, as always, to everybody who tunes in to join us on these. As I said, we're in the final stretch. Next episode will be our 101th episode. And we've got, at this point, 3, 4 episodes left. We don't know.
Home stretch team.
As we move towards a grand finale. I have something in the works. I might be able to sneak a bonus episode in there before the finale. But I gotta see how that plays out. But anyway, thank you to everybody who tuned in to join us, whether you're watching with us live now, lurking silently in the chat, or watching on VOD later. We appreciate all of you so much. And of course, thank you to, in this case, Gary and Cari for the subscription in bits to earn those domain tomes for themselves. And once again, also, as always, a huge thank you to Gary and Cari, without whom this would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this stream the same way we end every stream. You can say it with me if you want. Metadata.